What's poppin'? Welcome back to the station. Welcome back to the channel. Y'all know what it is, baby. It's your boy RayG. You can find me on X. We got it back at RayGQ. The hackers are gone. No more hackers. Out of the way. So you can get at me on X at RayGQ. But I'm back from a week in Mobile. I was down there. Senior Bowl. Dope experience. Get to talk to a lot of different people. Scouts, player personnel folks, NFL folks, and of course the players. So moving forward, we got new information here when we do these mocks to talk about these players. Not saying anything is drastically changed, but for some, maybe. For some, maybe. Regardless if you think it's real or fake or whatever, when you're hearing it from multiple scouts, multiple people, and you're seeing it is new information to take in. So as we discuss some of these cats, that new information will be layered in these picks. And of course, we agree, we disagree, but support the channel. Subscribe to the channel, hit that thumbs up button, like the content, comment below. But let's do it. We ain't gonna play around. It seems like it's a foregone conclusion now that at the top, Tennessee wants a quarterback, and the preference, at least the information that's out there now, is Cam Ward over everybody. So Cam Ward, pick one to the Tennessee Titans. At 2, I'm not buying Cleveland in on Shedeur. I don't think that there's some big drama-filled narrative as to why they can't select him because of prime. I don't believe that at all. I just don't think they're going to take him. I do not believe that they're going to take him here at 2. It just doesn't seem like the type of quarterback that's going to take that team to a spot where you're going to compete with Lamar and Burrow year in and year out. So why don't you help out Myles Garrett, the best damn defensive end in football, right? You do that with Abdul Carter. You could do that with Travis Hunter. I think in this spot right here at 2, they select Abdul Carter out of Penn State. You are Cleveland Brown at pick 2, which put the Giants on an interesting spot here at pick 3. I know there's some buzz around it, but again, what are we hearing? What am I hearing? What are people saying? What are a lot of the prognosticators, a lot of the draft pundits saying right now? 50-50 shot is Shedeur. Giants could go that direction. I think in this spot, they take Travis Hunter. But I think the Giants are a team that could prioritize a free agent. I can definitely see a player like Sam Darnold getting a bridge-type contract to come play in New York. Not with the Jets, but with the Giants. And I know Giants fans don't want to hear that. But that roster, you got talent on the defensive side. You add Travis Hunter to Andrew Phillips to Tyler Nubin. You've got Lawrence and Branch. And I know it's a year, but it's Hurts and Jaden Daniels. They're not a Shedeur away. Just like I said that about Cleveland. And the team that's going to pick them, it's going to be a tough division as well. But I don't think they pass on Travis Hunter here. They prioritize a free agent to come in to be that veteran quarterback. And maybe there's a quarterback that falls somewhere in round 2 or 3 as a developmental guy that you could take as well. Here at pick 4, the New England Patriots are also on the clock. And with Vrabel, versatile defensive player in his time, taking over. He talks about what he wants to prioritize for the wide receiver for Drake May and free agency. Go pay T. Higgins whatever they want. Seems like they're going to be in the market for a new receiver anyway. New England right here at pick 4. I think Mason Graham to New England. So that's one that you haven't seen a lot. A lot of Mason Graham going to the Jacksonville Jaguars. But I think right here with Vrabel here, he can play 4-eye. I've seen him stand up on the outside. He can play 3 technique. He can play all over the D-line. Again, a head coach who played a versatile type defensive line outside linebacker, Mason Graham, definitely worthy of being a top 5 pick. Jacksonville on the clock at pick 5. Get the best cover corner in this class, and that's Will Johnson, in my opinion, the cornerback out of Michigan. So Will Johnson going to Jacksonville right there. Bookends. You got the 2 Michigan guys going back-to-back. Will Johnson, Tyson Campbell out there in Jacksonville at pick 5. At 6, I think this is the spot where the Raiders get their quarterback. I've seen some Ashton Jeanty to the Raiders at 6. Yeah, he'd be an awesome running back for any team. But, I mean, I was just down there. It was Rashard Smith. Ollie Gordon looked good. You know, Devin Neal looked good. I mean, there were 5, 6, 7, 8 running backs there that I'm like, damn, I hope my team takes 1 or 2 of these guys, let alone the cats that didn't even show up to the Senior Bowl. So I know he's going to go high, but this is the class where I just don't think you have to take a running back this high. So the Raiders, they get their quarterback, Shedeur Sanders, off of the board at pick 6. And here we go. This is the first post-Senior Bowl hype. I'm relaying what everybody's saying. And everybody is saying Jaxson Dart is not only is he QB3, maybe he's QB2, QB1 in the class. I think he's a very good quarterback. He's built well. He can move. The arm strength is there. There's no doubt about it. He can make the throws. There's no doubt about it. You know, a lot of times in the big games, if you watched Ole Miss, he seemed to not show up. And that's what you want, that killer instinct. He was in a very good quarterback-friendly offense with Lane Kiffin, but he can call plays. He looked like he could command a huddle. He looked good. Looked good. There are the tools, the talents, the traits, and the Jets need a quarterback. So I think right here, maybe today this seems crazy, but I bet you within about a month as we get through this process and he tests, and I mean, he's got the arm, y'all. I'm telling you, you see it on tape. I saw it in person. I don't think it will be as crazy as it might feel right now. I personally think he needs a little bit of time, right? I think he needs a little bit of time, but the tool is there. And with QB, you just got to draft them until they hit. Like, you can't compete without it. And when you look at the AFC East right now, you got a young quarterback in Drake May, Tua, good quarterback, proven, paid, and a great offense. And then you got Josh Allen. You got to find a guy to win. Might seem crazy as hell right now, but the hype, post-Senior Bowl, going into the Combine, he's going to be viewed as a first-round, top 10, top 15 pick. So I think right here, Jaxson Dart comes off of the board as QB3 to the Jets. Panthers on the clock at pick 8, and they're feeling good. They can go any directions, right? You got McMillan still on the board here at 3, but edge rusher is where I believe they want to live. And I know Sycamore, I'm going to have Sycamore on the mock, man. We're going to get Trevor on soon. I know he is not nearly as high on Jalen Walker as a lot of us are, and this is a player that I normally would pick for the Carolina Panthers right here. But y'all, I think it's only a matter of time before both Marshall and Mike Green and Texas A&M edge rusher Shemar Stewart are just auto locks for the top 12. Shemar Stewart, freak, man amongst boys. I mean, he's got some stuff to work on, of course, but he is all of 6'6", 280 pounds, explosive, physical, violent. He's not a one-for-one replacement for Brian Burns. I think Mike Green's got a little more juice off the edge, but Shemar Stewart coming to help set a tone on a historically bad defense. I think this is going to be a really common player picked highly. So Shemar Stewart right here going number 8 overall to the Carolina Panthers. New Orleans is on the clock at 9. You know, Rattler, Derek Carr, you're probably kicking the can somewhere at quarterback, bridge-type quarterback. Let's see what you got in Spencer Rattler. Get him a target. Chris Olave's had to deal with some concussions, not just over his career in New Orleans, but dating back to Ohio State as well. Rashid Shaheed, when he's on the field as a field stretcher, awesome. They need another reliable target in New Orleans. So I think this is where Tetairoa McMillan, the wide receiver 1 in this class, comes off of the board to New Orleans at 9. Chicago's on the clock at 10. Ben Johnson, I know I did it last time. Ashton Jeanty to the Bears. Sounds fun, but ultimately the running back depth in this class, you don't have to do it. You don't have to take that player that high. Chicago, protect the quarterback. And this is a very good class for interior offensive linemen. If you want to take a stab on an outside guy, now they did draft Darnell Wright, so I think they need more of a cat that can play inside. Will Campbell, if you're just talking about the best lineman overall, if you're going to kick him inside to guard, maybe let him still try out some tackle, you can't go wrong with Will Campbell. Protect Caleb Williams, protect the quarterback who had record number of hits. You can't have that. So Will Campbell going to Chicago at 12. This is a spot where I want to give San Francisco what they need, which PFF is telling me guard, tackle, D-line. I'm just thinking about Robert Saleh and that defense, and you've got Nick Bosa on one side, and if you add Mike Green from Marshall on the other, I'm not saying this is the best use of this pick, or they're not going to take Kelvin Banks, because they very well may. They very well may. But for a moment, and this pains me because I would love to give this player to Dallas here at pick 12. This pains me. But I think Mike Green sitting on the board right here, I'm going to do it. 49ers fans, I promise you they wouldn't be mad. It says edge. I don't give a shit what it says. I'm not going to just draft because it says that. You put Mike Green on that defense, especially you're talking about offense that gets their guys back. Brock Purdy plays that game manager role, get that defense humming again. You add Mike Green out there with Buck, man, that's a problem. And that hurts because I would have loved to have selected Mike Green for the Dallas Cowboys at pick 12. Listen, Cowboys fans, before y'all, this is another one where everybody and their mom is just like Ashton Jeanty, and they very well may take Jeanty, but I'm going to stay 10 toes down on the fact that between Jeanty, Hampton, Johnson, Judkins, Henderson, Neal, Harvey, Giddens, Ollie Gordon, who looked incredible, Woody Marks, Raheem, Brashard Smith out of LSU, by far the best offensive Arroyo, offensive players in Mobile. I'm just not taking a running back at 12. I'm not doing it. Dallas very well may do it. I'm not doing it for the Dallas Cowboys. When it comes to the receiver, I know everybody in my question to you Cowboys fans is this. If CeeDee Lamb best operates, he can operate outside, but they use him a lot in the slot as well. And you don't want to diminish him to one just playing boundary side receiver. All Luther Burden did was play in the slot. And I think you're doing him a disservice lining him up in 12 personnel as a boundary receiver. And before you go to Justin Jefferson and say, well, Ray Jefferson played in the slot all his final year. So the year before that, he had over 800 receiving yards and he played primarily on the outside. So he had experience playing outside. Inside, Burden doesn't play outside at all. So you're asking, it's not like Madden where you could it's different. Just like playing nickel corner is different than playing one of the boundary corners. If you're looking for a true complement to CeeDee Lamb, I don't believe that's Burden unless you're going to tell me Luther Burden is going to play on the outside. I don't see that. And that's why even with Emeka Egbuka, it's tough to do that. I think this would put Dallas in a very interesting spot. I think the best wide receiver fit for the Dallas Cowboys is 100% Matthew Golden. To play on that outside opposite of CeeDee Lamb, it's just a stylistic fit. Can they go James Pearce? They need an edge defender with Micah Parsons. Sure, I think he's just as explosive. I can see James Pearce at 12, but if I'm just talking a wide receiver fit for this team, if that's the primary objective, which it very well could be Jeanty, I would prioritize Matthew Golden in that role before I would Luther Burden. Even though I think Luther Burden can play on the outside, I think Matthew Golden is the type of guy, when you look at his slot snaps versus wide, he primarily played on the outside, but he also lined up in the slot. Again, I'm just showing you what the numbers are, and before you that doesn't mean he can't do it. He doesn't do it. Luther Burden, 300, 200 snaps on the outside, in the slot, out wide. And that's where his production came. That's where he was most productive when you leave him inside. So don't make him do shit that he doesn't that he's not comfortable doing. So right here with Dallas on the clock at pick 12, I like a receiver opposite, make things easy for Dak. And again, the running back position is deep. We can get a running back in round 2. I'm taking Matthew Golden at 12 to Dallas. Miami on the clock. I talked to some scouts for the Dolphins at the airport. What do y'all need? I have trouble trying to draft for Miami. I'm hearing offensive line. I'm also hearing safety. So once you say that, the best safety in the class, Malaki Starks, it makes it an easy pick for Miami at 13. This is an easy one. This is chalk. I've done this multiple mocks. This is a common pick, player fit. Tyler Warren to the Indianapolis Colts at pick 14. Atlanta on the clock at 15. I'm listening, Panthers, Falcons fans. I'm listening. Edge. I thought wide receiver was a sneaky spot. I mocked Luther Burden there. Got ripped. Oh, no, we ain't taking no Luther Burden. And now PFF has it number 1 on the thing. as their position of need. But edge defender, you got James Pearce on the board. Jalen Walker is still available. Outside linebacker, edge sort of hybrid. These guys right here, Donovan, Landon, Princely, got to see them all in Mobile. All of them damn good. So if Mykel Williams and James Pearce and Jack Sawyer are better than these guys, there's a hell of a class. Kyle Kennard was outstanding as well. Josiah Stewart looked good. So right here with Atlanta, this is a position of need. You want to get a guy that's going to get after the quarterback. Pressures. James Pearce, 43 of them bad boys last year. 8 sacks. You can take a look at Mykel Williams. A lot of people, that's another, Georgia boy, player fit, 15 hurries, 17 before. I'm taking the experienced, productive player. I think James Pearce is better than Mykel Williams, so I love to see this reflected in Trevor's rankings right here. So James Pearce, you're going to Atlanta at 15. Arizona on the clock at 16. Interior offensive line, D-line. I think they can go massive disruptor. I was very impressed with Ole Miss defensive tackle Walter Nolen. You still got Kenneth Grant on the board. But if you want that disruptor, the hands were undeniable. Walter Nolen's hands on the inside. So if that's what you're kind of looking for in that position, I think Nolen would be the spot. But right here at 16 with Kelvin Banks still on the board with Arizona in need of a guard and tackle. Can Banks play on the outside? A lot of people seem to think he can. But then you talk to another group of scouts and said, no, he's got to kick inside. But having this caliber of player on the board here at pick 16, if Arizona didn't take him, he was going to the Cincinnati Bengals at 17. But Kelvin Banks, go protect Kyler. Keep him upright. Get the ball to Trey McBride, Marvin Harrison Jr. Since he's on the clock, defensive line, guard, Gray Zabel, great. You got Josh Simmons, tackle. Bengals fans said, we don't need a tackle. We need an interior guy. We need a guard. Gray Zabel would be the pick. You've got Connerly that could play outside or inside. But right here, we're going there. Damian Parsons, scout from Bleacher Report, said this 2 mocks ago. Walter Nolen, while not Geno Atkins, that's a whole different animal. That's power, that's speed, that's everything. Nolan's hands were different. Dayon Walker was a monster of a young man. Walter Nolen was a very big dude, but the hands, the quickness, I like what I saw. He could be a disruptor on the inside for Cincinnati. And that defense, it needs some help. And they got to see what's going to happen with Trey Hendrickson. He's not a Hendrickson replacement. He's a Hendrickson helper, Hendrickson complement. So let's get that thing done with Trey. Walter Nolen, you are a Bengal. At 18, center, guard, edge, and linebacker positions of need for the Seahawks. Seattle Seahawks, Mike McDonald. We know he loves defense. You got Mykel Williams there. I haven't seen this one a lot. Guard or center. I've given the Seahawks Tyler Booker. People hate it. We're not taking a damn guard that high. Edge defender, why not Mykel right here at pick 18? So Mykel Williams to the Seattle Seahawks. Help that defense out. You got Tampa Bay on the clock at 19. Edge, linebacker, defensive back. I've got the player for. What are we going to do for Brock? What are we going to do for Bo? Denver's on the clock. What are we going to do for Bo Nix? Help. You do that, or you improve that secondary. And I looked at him. I finally took a look at Nick Emanwari from South Carolina, 6'3", like 230. As much as I talk about the running back class and how deep this running back class is, y'all, in Mobile, we had, 3 of the top 5, 6 safeties in the class? Arroyo, Taylor in round 1, Tyler Warren, warranted. Colston Loveland should be a first-round pick. But if your team doesn't take one in one of these mocks, have no fear. There's a bunch of them that you can get in round 2, round 3 that are going to be starting tight ends. Mason Taylor, impressive. Harold Fannin, impressive players. I think right here, to get that tone setter on defense, I'm telling you, if you have not watched these highlights, go do it. I absolutely believe that somebody that big, that fast, that powerful can be a first-round pick. So Nick Emanwari from South Carolina, the big 6'3" safety, going to Denver at pick 20. 21, Pittsburgh. I don't know who the hell is going to be quarterback. I guess it's Justin Fields. Let's get somebody that's ready to step in that can help in the run game, because I don't care who's playing quarterback. Pittsburgh's always going to establish it. They're always going to run the ball. You got Jalen Warren coming back. So you need somebody that's going to be able to contribute in that department and also be an impact player on the offensive side. Right away, he is a perfect complement to George Pickens. He's a power slot. Burden can play in the slot as well. But Egbuka's ability to contribute in the run game, unselfish player. I think he would be a quarterback-friendly wide receiver, pros pro, top receiver in this class. Emeka Egbuka to the Pittsburgh Steelers at 21. Chargers on the clock at 22. Okay. I wasn't going to do it. I was not going to do this. I want to give them Colston Loveland, tight end from Michigan. I want to do it. I want to give him Colston Loveland. But I'm just telling you, Chargers fan, this whole, it's because he's a Michigan guy. Sure, maybe, and that could be true. But the tight end class is loaded, so I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. But I'm also not letting Ashton Jeanty fall any further. And they do need a running back. And if I'm Harbaugh, and I'm looking, if you believe this is the top dog in the class, worthy of going top 10 in the class, and you're getting him at 22, and you know how this will take pressure off of your quarterback, help out your young receiver on the outside, I could see it happening. I don't know if Jim Harbaugh would be able to pass on Ashton Jeanty to take Colston Loveland. I'm doing it. Chargers, Ashton Jeanty at pick 22. Green Bay on the clock at 23. Wide receiver, center, edge, cornerback, positions of need. If center is of massive need, Packers fans, I've given them a cornerback every time. And when I'm hearing about Ben Morrison, I don't even want to do that right now. I don't feel good mocking Ben Morrison at 23 to y'all based on what we're hearing about the leg. So you got Jahdae Barron that doesn't profile like a typical Packers cornerback. Gray Zabel, he gave up a couple of plays today in the Senior Bowl, but throughout the practices, it was no doubt. I mean, he was the most dominant offensive lineman there. If you need a center, it is being talked about that he is by far the best center in this class. So I think right here, let's do something different for Green Bay. We can go cornerback in round 2, and there are some Azariah Thomas out of Florida State balled out this week. You still got Amos and Revel, and even with the medicals, there's a chance that Morrison, if it doesn't clear, right, falls a little bit. But there's some other corners in this class. But right here, Gray Zabel at pick 23 to Green Bay. At 24, Minnesota guard, D lineman, cornerback, positions of need. Jahdae Barron, yes. Josh Connerly, sure. But there's more and more talk. Todd McShay talked about it, that Travion Henderson is going to be a first-round pick. Could be RB2 off of the board. And I've seen multiple mocks have running backs to the Chargers at 22, Caleb Johnson, Omarion Hampton. I think Henderson is going to test very well. Explosive, shifty, receiving, and he was that dude coming out. He was a 5-star recruit, so the pedigree is there. If you're talking about adding J.J. McCarthy, adding a weapon to McCarthy, and you just want this offense to be explosive as shit for the Minnesota Vikings, I don't know if there's another running back as explosive as Travion Henderson. So he's commonly mocked at Dallas at pick 44, but there's always wild things that happen in NFL drafts. And I think there are other things that are more wild than a running back going at pick 24. Great interior defensive line class. I mean, we haven't even talked about the Derek Harmons and Dayon Walker, so we can get an interior D lineman in round 2, a cornerback in round 2, a guard in round 3. Travion Henderson, Minnesota, pick 24. At 25, Texans are on the clock, and they just run to the front podium. They turn their card in, and they get C.J. Stroud some help. Luther Burden, the third slot receiver out of Missouri, perfect fit. Perfect fit. I love it. I love this fit here in Houston with C.J. Stroud. At 26, Rams are on the clock. Tight end, tackle, linebacker, and cornerback, biggest positions of need for the Rams. Now, I know that they do have some young offensive linemen. I know they brought in Jonah Jackson, and I believe there was somebody else, but that overall, Avila, I think they've got a very young core on that O-line. So Armand Mimba would be the next tackle up for me. But I want to look at the tight end position. I want to look at this tight end position because this tight end class is loaded. You've got Loveland here. I think this would be the spot for him. Like, this is a fit because it says tight end tackle. Loveland can stay in line. He could stay in line and block if you need him to do that. You want him to split out, utilize his pass catching ability. As a receiver, I think he would work beautifully with Sean McVay and Puka Nacua. This seems like a really good fit for LA, and they need a tight end. Colston Loveland to the Los Angeles Rams. There you go. So he didn't go to LAC, but he went to LAR. He went to the Los Angeles Rams. Baltimore on the clock at pick 27. It's, help Lamar Jackson. Help Lamar Jackson. Get Lamar weapons, right? Get Lamar weapons. Play defense, edge, cornerback. Jahdae Barron in Baltimore just, Josh, it just feels like a Baltimore kind of pick. Jahdae Barron feels like a Baltimore Raven. Let's look at the tackle. They need tackle. They're in good shape here. I'm on Mimbu or Josh Simmons. I think Mimbu, what is Mimbu, 6'3", and then Simmons, I believe, is a little bigger. Donovan, 6'5", 310. Josh Simmons, this is the guy that a lot of people said would have been a first-round pick had not been for the injury. So right here, Baltimore, they get a steal. Josh Simmons from Ohio State goes to Baltimore. Lines on the clock, center, guard, edge, linebacker, positions of need. You got Jack Sawyer, who just feels like a Dan Campbell pick. He really does. He feels like a Dan Campbell pick. Princely, McMillan looked really good. Kyle Kennard looked good this week. But Sawyer, I think this, I could see this working. I could see this working in Detroit. Center, guard, Zabel's off of the board. Widely considered. You got Donovan Jackson. As well, the interior offensive lineman from Ohio State. So if you don't like that, you got Tyler Booker still on the board. This is a great offensive line, right? I don't know who you all are losing in Detroit, but I think right here, Jack Sawyer feels like a Dan Campbell guy at 28. I think that would work out very well once Aiden Hutchinson gets back as well. Washington Commanders on the board. Receiver, tackle, edge rusher, and cornerback. Positions of need. Jahdae Barron could work with Dan Campbell, with Dan Quinn. Talk to some people, and we're talking about Jahdae Barron. Could he just be used like Sandersill? They've already got one of those guys, so maybe they pass on that. Receivers available for Washington. There's a guy who was supposed to come to the Senior Bowl that did not show, but I think that was for a reason because he probably got good intel that he was already in that sort of fringe range to go top 50. Elik Eomanor out of Stanford, big body receiver. You pair him up with the speed, the athleticism of McLaurin. Hopefully you get some more production from Ben Sinnott here in 2025. Elik Eomanor, let's get Washington and Jaden Daniels another pass catcher. They're going to get the defense right, and Dan Quinn they trust. Let's get another weapon for Jaden Daniels. At 30, Buffalo's on the clock. Receiver, D-line, linebacker, and cornerback. This is one where I am going to take a Jahdae Barron, cornerback out of Texas. Just get a playmaker on that defense. And again, while defensive line could be the pick here, it's deep. Let's go to the interior D-line. To just Kenneth Grant, Talik Williams, Omar Norman Lott made plays all week. Alfred Collins, Dayon Walker, Derek Harmon. Farmer made himself some money. Tim Smith inside made some money as a run defender. Nick Scorton still out there. It's deep. Jahdae Barron is a different cat. So Buffalo just adding different cats to the defensive side of the ball. There you go at 30. At 31, the two Super Bowl teams at 31-32, Philly and Kansas City on the clock. Philly, it's saying receiver, guard, edge, cornerback positions of need. They're in good shape. If those are the things that they need, you've got Siobhan Revel here. Defensive back is Darius Slay getting a little bit older. Demetrius Knight, just a hammer at linebacker. Very, very physical linebacker. Philly keeps telling me that they need edge. So let's go look at the edge rushers that are still on the board. Scorton's there. Donovan, Landon. Princely a little thin. I think that this is a little too early for Princely. I thought Landon Jackson looked good. I thought he looked good over the week. You've got Landon Jackson available on the edge. Nick Scorton here at 29. This is a bigger dude, 6'4", 285. Cornerbacks, let's look at edge and corner for Philly. I'm really thinking about this. Quinyon, Slay. If Revel's knee injury clears up, just like Ben Morrison, to get those guys down here, I think those are really good picks. But let's set the edge with Scorden. Maybe even can kick inside if need be at times, right? If they want to run like a NASCAR package. Got Scorden, Carter out there. Nick Scorden right here, Philadelphia at 31. And Kansas City at 32. Armand Membu, tackle, falls right in their lap. You also got Josh Connerly. We're going to go Membu. Armand Membu out of Missouri goes to the Kansas City Chiefs at 32. So there it is. Post-Senior Bowl mock. I'm going to recap this joint. At the top, had Cam Ward going 1 to Tennessee. Abdul Carter going number 2 to the Cleveland Browns. Travis Hunter at pick 3 to the New York Giants. Mason Graham, pick 4 to the New England Patriots. Will Johnson goes 5th overall to the Jacksonville Jaguars, followed by Shedeur Sanders at 6 to the Raiders. At pick 7, the New York Jets took Jaxson Dart, big Senior Bowl riser, as was Shemar Stewart, who went 8th overall to the Panthers. Tetairoa McMillan went 9th overall to the New Orleans Saints. Will Campbell 10th overall to the Chicago Bears. Mike Green, another big Senior Bowl riser, goes 11 to the San Francisco 49ers. Dallas Cowboys select Matthew Golden, 12th overall out of Texas. Malaki Stark, safety out of Georgia, goes 13th to the Miami Dolphins. Tyler Warren at pick 14 to the Indianapolis Colts. James Pearce, the edge defender out of Tennessee, goes 15th to the Atlanta Falcons. And Kelvin Banks, tackle out of Texas, goes to protect Kyler Murray in Arizona at pick 16. At 17, Ole Miss and Senior Bowl standout Walter Nolen goes 17th to the Cincinnati Bengals. Mykel Williams, 18th overall to Seattle Seahawks. Jalen Walker goes 19th overall to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Nick Emanwari, the big safety out of South Carolina, goes 20th to the Denver Broncos. Emeka Egbuka, 21 to Pittsburgh. Ashton Jeanty, 22 to the Chargers. Gray's Abel, Senior Bowl standout, goes 23 overall to the Packers. Travion Anderson, a lot of smoke and rumor around him potentially being a first-round pick, goes to the Minnesota Vikings at 24. Luther Burden goes 25th overall to the Houston Texans. Colston Loveland taps in with L.A. at 26. At 27, Josh Simmons, the tackle out of Ohio State, goes to the Baltimore Ravens. At 28, Jack Sawyer, the defensive end edge rusher from Ohio State, goes 28 overall to the Detroit Lions. At 29, the Commanders select Elik Eomanor, the wide receiver out of Stanford. And at 30, Jahdae Barron, the cornerback out of Texas, goes to the Buffalo Bills. 31, Texas A&M edge rusher defensive end Nick Scorden goes to the Eagles. And at 32, the Kansas City Chiefs take Armand Membu, tackle from Missouri. Appreciate y'all pulling up for this one. Post-Senior Bowl mock. Hopefully I'll get Sycamore on here in the next couple of days. Damian Parsons, scout from BR. We'll get him back on the channel. And as new information pours in from the Combine, we're going to continue to grind the tape, do all of that. We'll continue to mock and talk to these players. Hopefully we'll go 2 rounds with DP on the next one and see if we can get Trevor to go 2 as well. I appreciate y'all once again pulling up. Subscribe to the channel. The X is back. The hackers are gone, so make sure you get at me and all the content on X at RayGQ. The thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, and until next time, I'm out. Peace.